So this is very common. You would do the same ender again with the wall BnB, and then you press disrespect, and then you press whatever ender you'd like. So you can choose to do RFF 4, Backturn RFF 4-3, Backturn 3, or a throw, right? Welcome to Open Hwoarang Lessons. The cheese for today is Okizeme. I'm pretty sure you've heard this if you watched the last video, which again is LFS down back for Okizeme. If you're following this series, like same as the frame trap series, basic, intermediate, and advanced. So we covered it all in open. As you can see, we're in Mishima Dojo. This is it's a walled stage, and this gives you a different kind of Oki. It's called Wall Okizeme, and if you end it a combo and a BnB ender, you can get a certain type of Okizeme, and that one here is the Okizeme we'll be covering, the BnB wall ender, mainly LFS3 F4. This move, the mid-high move, which miraculously hits. The second hit miraculously hits like when the opponent's really low slump. So again, this ender applies to all the enders that use it. So of course RFF 3, F+4, right? And it also applies to the SS33 version, and it also applies to the LFS 3 forward version. Well, I overshot that one. That's right. Anything where you can squeeze this ender in, this is the Oki for it. The only thing that's different for this Oki is if you do it from CD3. Because the timing window here, you have so much more recovery available to you as Hwoarang compared to the other enders involving LFS 3 F4. CD3 is just the exception to it, but more or less the options you'd be using for the 3 enders are more or less the same as the one you'd be using for CD3. It's just that there's more risk if you use the options from CD3 to the 3 other enders. Okay. So, the first option here we'd like to cover is entering RFF. This is my favorite if you've watched any of my games. I would always enter RFF into back 2. So yeah, before I get ahead of myself, you need to test all of these as per usual. So we'll put them in non-set and we'll keep stand up on wake up. So of course you want to see if the opponent will react. And we're just going to blaze through this, speed run it. And as you can see, he moved up because again, RFF back 2 is a mid. And it's not a high mid, right? It's kind of a low hitting mid. But at the same time, you don't expect to hit that low. But since they moved up, that means they extended their hurt box. And the move will connect. Beautiful. So, again, you have to test everything. So we'll be focusing more on tech rolls first, because tech rolls are very common when you put an opponent at a wall and you finish them with a wall combo. They typically tech rolls. So why RFF back 2? Because as you can see here, this move, well, it catches a lot of people and puts you in another +4 situation. Now, they can't step towards the right, but they can step towards the left. Now, it's the whole while standing 4-4 mix-up shenanigans in between. So you have to think on what option you're supposed to use based on how your opponent is reacting. So here, for tech roll right, you're still catching them. And now this time, they can step towards the right, but not towards the left. So, yes, it's just more or less small, tiny details like that, depending on the side they tech to. So of course, if they do quick recovery, they stay on the floor. That does not affect. However, after a whiff back 2, they can do a wake up mid or a wake up low or a spring kick, and that will definitely punish Hwoarang. So that's one of the risks you run by doing it on the same timing as for both tech rolls, and including for back quick roll right over here. So they're just like quick recovery, they have the opportunity to punish you. So we're going to now move in straight into stand-up. Now, when I tested the Okizeme earlier, as you could see, it did hit Hwoarang here while he was getting up. So that means it's more or less a guaranteed hit if they wake up this way, right? If they're using one of the stand-up options. Now you want to see if that affects all the other stand-up options to see how good RFF back 2 is. And it's hitting. Of course, again, you don't have to necessarily do RFF back 2. I just prefer it a lot. You could switch this to RFF DF4 if you like, because they won't necessarily be stepping the option. But then again, that is subject to testing. You make sure you test a lot of this stuff first. Most especially if you're a Hwoarang. You can't just wing it. Winging it is kind of dangerous. Now here in this situation, we had that kind of situation with LFS up forward 3+4 and LFS down back 4, wherein your follow-up would whiff and the opponent can get up and potentially punish you, right? So again, we're just gonna have Hwoarang here do it for us. Boop, boop, the boom. Combo. No, he's safe. He's safe. So same situation, not much risk you're taking here. So again, just check that again with side roll right, if you can connect against side roll right or not. Here you go, Ender, the classic BnB. Okay, so again, you are at a disadvantage, however you're safe. And the wall positioning isn't that bad because you also have one option to move away, the same way the opposing Hwoarang has one option to move away. Now we're moving on to the juicy parts. Wake up mid-kick. So if they decide to press a button immediately, this is why I love RFF B+2 in this situation. It didn't counter hit, but it still hit. But let's say you delay it just a little bit, right? Just by a second. A second. 1 cheese second. You're gonna get a big follow-up damage into Pancake Flip Oki. And you know what that means for Hwoarang once your opponent's at the wall. You can easily down 3-4 mix them or whatever you like. RFF DF4, RFS 2 over and over again. You can run that cycle non-stop. So here we're doing it again for Wake Up Low Kick. But again, if I run it on the fast timing, it'll hit. And then of course if I delay it, it'll still give the counter hit. Now of course you do want to see it if it does, if we do the opposite option, which is RFF DF4, because again you're not limited by what option you do. When entering RFF, you can choose as many options as you like. Just make sure it would connect a good number of options on Wake Up. And that's a lot of damage. So now moving to Recovery Kick. Finishing it out, rounding it up before we get to the next Okizeme option for the Wall BnB of Hwoarang. So again, another Pancake Flip Oki, and of course for RFF DF4, for the Wake Up option so far, you're going to get a free wall splat into potentially even a resplat combo. So one of the resplat combos you could do is the SS3-3-1 and then do a DF3-4, DF3+4, so that you get the free guaranteed back 3 again at the wall, which is insane. So again, that covers the first Okizeme option, RFF 4-3, the BnB wall ender that was discovered in Tekken 7 Fated Retribution, which does again a ton of damage. So it's just dash into RFF. You can choose any option. I'm just recommending RFF B+2 because at least you'll be in a +4 situation while being in RFF. Because again, if you opt to do DF4, you will be safe. However, the move is a little bit more linear. It doesn't track to any of the sides compared to RFF B+2. And you're in RFS. Again, a major issue with being in Flamingo is that you cannot guard in any of these Flamingo stances. However, you do have an RFS F4, so that does limit the opponent's options from what they will press. So moving on, we'll move on to the next one. The next one is Backturn. So this is very, very common. You would do the same ender again with the wall BnB, and then you press Disrespect, and then you press whatever ender you'd like. So you can choose to do RFF 4, Backturn RFF 4-3, Backturn 3, or a throw, right? So these options would typically catch most of it. So we'll be testing here RFF 4, Backturn RFF 4, and the throw specifically, because that's the way you'll be able to get an opponent to duck and get hit by Backturn RFF 4. That's the whole point of doing a 50-50. You have to make sure you have 2 options so that the opponent is forced to commit to another. So just like that, you're able to catch. Now, of course, I'm not doing a command throw, but again, when you're doing it from Backturn, make sure to do 2+4 back. And you make sure you press the back afterwards. I did cover this in Hwoarang's throws. Again, the video will be, again, linked in the description below, alongside with all the other Okizeme series videos. So next up, we'll be moving to the next tech roll here. And we'll just throw. And then just to double check, we'll put in the Backturn 4. Backturn RFF 4. I'm not used to calling it that. But yes, it's a very, very solid option. There is enough time to chicken also in between for it. So let's say your opponent is Paul, Asuka, etc. Characters you can reversal. You can chicken the reversal. There is enough time in between this, because the input is 4-3. So again, you're going to be doing forward 1+3. And there's enough time because of how long the wind up for the second kick is. So again, quick recovery. Going to do a throw, and of course we already discovered this earlier, it doesn't affect them. So the bonus of doing Backturn 4 here, Backturn RFF 4 here, is that the second hit does hit grounded. So again, if they decide to stay on the floor and you don't mess it up and attempt to do other stuff, and then the second hit is going to hit. So again, that's going to be the same situation for back quick roll, so throws will not affect. Again, if you do attempt a throw, you will get punished because they have enough time to react and press wake up mid, low, recovery kick, or spring attack. So that's why if you go for Backturn RFF 4-3, you are going to get the second hit to connect. However, there is no guaranteed back 3 after it. So if the second hit connects, there is no back 3. Mind you, you might get a little bit eager for more damage and you'll be negative 19 in an instant. Here we go, we're going to move on to wake up backwards, doing the BnB as per usual for the second option. And just like that, we catch them in time. So against tech roll, if they wake up more faster, but if they do wake up backwards, a little bit slower. So now we're going to do it with a throw. So again, if I'm doing it on regular timing, same timing as against the tech roll, the throw is whiffing. But Backturn RFF 4-3 is catching. So that's one of the risks you're taking if they don't tech roll. Again, adjust always accordingly based on how your opponent is reacting. So in this scenario against all the stand-up options is, I guess, more preferred to be doing Backturn RFF 4. Here we go versus front roll. And yeah, that was one of the other options. I didn't mean to do that, but yes. The other Backturn RFF options are available to you. Oh, so no, again, same situation. You won't get punished. However, they are up and you are -5 on block. -5 isn't that bad. It is something you can use and still be able to move around with those frames. So that beats side roll left. Again, that's Backturn RFF 3. That is the other left. It's the left Backturn Plasma Blade, which again is -13. Compared to LFF Back 3, which again is -19. Any Plasma Blade version that isn't in LFF is -13. So the option is covering quite well. But of course, if you did Backturn 3 there, you saw it flip them over. And again, that's another Pancake Oki. And gives again Hwoarang a major advantage because the opponent is at the wall. So again, here against Wake Up Mid Kick, you thought it would be a little bit slow, but then it catches. And then it gives counter hit and it gives you a major plus frames. But that is just one wake up kick. You want to see if that affects the other wake up kicks, namely wake up low. No. Of course, I was using Backturn 3, so the option we're covering right now is Backturn 4. Backturn 4, yes. But it still catches, so you're again +6. The move itself is pretty good. You can also do this from crouching while standing 3+4-3. Which will be covered in another video, so feel free to subscribe for that when it comes out. But of course, toe kick recovery right here is beating Backturn 4. So just to show the other options and showcase it, we'll do Backturn 3 instead and see if that'll catch to a toe kick recovery. And it does, you trade. And that's again massive damage for Hwoarang. Now we'll move on to the last spring attack before moving to the next Oki option. And the verdict is trading with spring kick. However, if you can change that again to Backturn 4, right? If you change it to Backturn 4, Backturn 3, I mean, Backturn RFF 3, that's good Oki again for Hwoarang. It's just fantastic. So again, it was just showing from the first two Okizemes dashing into RFF Back 2 or RFF DF4. Fantastic. Very few bad options, very few negatives, including for entering Backturn through disrespect, just by simply pressing a 1+2 and then choosing to do Backturn 4 or Backturn 3. Or throws if they tech roll mainly, because that catches. Again, you're running this all on the same timing. You're not running it on the opponent's timing. You're just running like, okay, if they wake up this way, this is how it beats it. So you're just running it on this default timing, but once you know the opponent's timing, you can further fine-tune the Oki, tailor-suit it down to the last thread for them. So the last, well, I wouldn't say last, there's an infinite amount of options. Just like LFS forward 3+4, the number of Okizeme options you have for the wall BnB, mainly LFS 3 F4, is a lot. There's way too many. Here, I'm just here to showcase a couple of them. So the third one is going to be the last one, and it's split into two parts, two subcategories. So it's basically Flamingo. Hang on, just a second. Allow me to demonstrate. The opponent is on tech roll left right now, right? So since the opponent is on tech roll left, that means the opponent is going to go to Hwoarang's right, correct? So we'll just realign with them by doing enter left Flamingo, and now it's still a nightmare. Because Hwoarang's leg is up, and that means he has access to down 3-4. Not that you could have just wave dashed into down 3-4, right? but you're wanting to enter all the other Flamingo options available to you by doing so. Now, if they tech roll right, and you know that they're gonna tech roll right, you can do the opposite. You can enter RFS and catch them and put them again to the RFS F4 mix-up. It's nuts. But you want to check again, because again, right, I'm realigning. As Hwoarang, I am already realigning. I know they're tech rolling right, so I'm going to enter RFS. And I know they're tech rolling left, so I'm going to enter LFS. So again, you have to make sure that both options will cover decently, even if you don't know. Like, you really want to enter Flamingo. So again, against tech roll right and I enter Flamingo, okay, it still catches, it still realigns. However, you lost the wall advantage. As you can see where Hwoarang is positioned right now, you're not at the wall. It isn't the same as the RFF Back2 one, wherein they had one side of them to the wall and had another side where they could escape. Very, very different. So you still have quote-unquote pressure, but they have more room, more leeway to escape. So you want to check if that's the same case for right Flamingo when they step towards the left. They tech roll towards the left. Here we go. At the BnB. So it's a little bit more similar to the RFF Back2 situation. So LFS is in a little, it's a little iffy situation if they tech towards the other side. Because that means they're all the way out of, the wall's not even at their side anymore. So that's mainly it. With the Flamingo options, you'll be covering out all the other ones and pressing a Flamingo option that's best suited for that situation. So of course the moves I used here were LFS 3 forward, which is against a mid, and RFS F4. So against, we already know against quick recovery and back quick roll, they're not going to get up. So again, if you do LFS 3 forward, that means you can still press another button and potentially low crush if they do a wake up low kick or a toe recovery kick. And if they do a spring attack or a wake up mid kick, you can do a power crush to resplat them towards the wall. That applies as well for RFS F4, except for RFS F4 for wake up mid kick and spring attack. You could just do RFS F4 instead for wake up mid kick, but for spring attack, you probably have to do RFS 4 or RFS back 4. And of course, after a whiffed RFS F4, you can still do RFS a forward 4, the Twa Ha, to again low crush the toe kick or the wake up low kick. So now we just want to double check with wake up backwards all the way up to just side roll right. So that's what we're going to do in a real fast moment here. We're going to get the splat and we're going to enter Flamingo. And it looks like it take a lot of time to get up. So that means even for right Flamingo and left Flamingo, you have enough time to set up whatever you want. So if you want to set it unblockable, go ahead. Go ham with it. If you want to set up RFS F4 by pressing a button while they're on the floor to, kill frames, that is the term for it. That way when they wake up at a certain point, or when they have control over their character, you can press RFS DF4 to counter hit them or keep them at +1 at the wall, which again is going to give you a free check into a 1-2 F4 again. So again, the possibilities are endless. This again is just a three small options. So again, the first option was RFF forward, the dash RFF back 2 or dash RFF DF4. After that is disrespect backturn Okizeme, which involves backturn RFF 4 and backturn 3 plus the throws. And then the last one is Flamingo options. Any of the Flamingo options. Of course, you can include air raid if you like, or include movement or dash back dash RFF into RFF F forward 3. Again, the choice is yours. Again, make sure to test it against all the Okizeme options. And then even at times, record the combo and see if you can punish it if the move whiffs and the opponent is able to wake up versus that option you were testing. To see if you, punish it. To weigh the risk rewards towards it. Now, that covers it for RFF forward 3, LFS forward 3, 3 forward 4. The BnB, I did single out CD3. I singled out CD3 because you're gonna see it in just a bit. You're gonna keep side quick roll left and wake up backwards. Is that there is way too much time, as in way too much time for any option to be set up. And the most common option you'll be setting up here is what I just did, a wave dash, crouch dash into FF3. And since they're at the wall, that does mean they cannot step. They cannot step with... they can't step nor backdash because again, both of they're going to be put in the RFF back 2 situation wherein there's no place for them to run. This does not work with the other enders, you can do it. However, the opponent has more leeway to interrupt you. And that's something you probably don't want as Hwoarang when you're doing Oki. It's really gonna end a lot. It's gonna end your soul, and you'll be like, no, I shouldn't have done that. So it's a way different situation, and you have more frames to cover it. And since they can't backdash nor step in that situation at 7, since a lot of your stuff as Hwoarang tracks at 7, you just straight up RFF back 2 or RFF DF4. DF4 is still a risk, by the way, at +7, but RFF back 2 instead, because that's 16 minus 7, and it's gonna be around 11 if my math is right. We'll have when I edit this video, you'll see at the bottom maybe subtitles if I was right or not in regards to math. But yes, so that again has been the cheese. That has been the cheese for today. Wall Okizeme, the Wall BnB Okizeme for Hwoarang, featuring 3 to 4 options depending on the ender you're using. So again, if you're using any of the other enders, as I separated them, CD3 is the only one that's different. But you can still run everything you did for the first one, the BnB enders, whether that be doing it from RFF forward 3 or LFS 3 forward or SS 3, and then, you know, all the enders there, dash RFF back 2, etc, etc, etc. That can all be applied to CD3. However, Waivu into FF3 and all the other shenanigans that exist with CD3, which I did not cover in this video, can, in quotations, be used for the other 3, but there is more risk. That is about it. So again, I've been Frontier. That's been the cheese. Thank you for watching.